There is a word you have heard your entire life, and you think you know what it means. Hospital, a building where sick people go to get better. Clean clothes, bright corridors, machines that beep, odds on your side. That is what it means now. It has not always meant that. For most of human history, it meant something closer to the opposite. If someone told you in 1840 that your loved one had been taken to hospital, that was not reassuring. It was nearly a death sentence. Not from the illness that brought them there, from the hospital itself. Nearly half of all surgical patients died inside those walls. The people who knew the numbers best, the wealthy, the physicians themselves, refused to go. Before that era, there was no hospital at all, not for ordinary people. 3 options: family, prayer, or luck. And when those ran out, there was one last place to go. You are about to find out what it was. For most of recorded human history, serious illness had one answer: go home, lie down. Hope someone loved you enough to stay. There was no institution, no profession you could summon, no building designed to receive you. The sick were cared for at home by family, almost always women, using herbal remedies, prayers, and whatever folk knowledge the household carried. That was medicine. That was all there was. The question was never which hospital do I go to. It was who in my family can take care of me. If the answer was nobody, a traveler, a soldier far from home, an orphan, the destitute poor, the options narrowed to almost nothing. The wealthy were never treated in hospitals, not once. The patients in the earliest institutions were overwhelmingly the poor with nowhere else to go. Picture yourself feverish in a dark room. The people around you are doing the only thing available: guessing. So what did the ancient world do? Because they were not simply sitting in the dark. They had answers. Just not the answers you would want. Egypt had physicians. Real, formally trained specialists. The Egyptian word for doctor appears in Old Kingdom records. At least 129 named physicians have been identified. Not guessing men. Professionals. The Edwin Smith Papyrus, written around 1500 BCE, is organized by body part, with examination, diagnosis, prognosis, and treatment. Systematic, rational. There was still nowhere to take a sick person. Physicians visited homes. The sick sought healing at temples. Medicine and magic were equal partners, and neither required a building. Greece had a different answer. The Asclepieion, a healing temple dedicated to Asclepius, god of medicine. At least 300 existed across the Greek and Roman world. Pilgrims traveled to the temple, bathed and fasted for several days, then performed incubatio, sleeping in the sacred space, waiting for a divine dream. A priest interpreted it and prescribed treatment: rest, diet, baths. At Epidaurus, marble boards from 350 BCE record roughly 70 patient case histories. Some cures are medically realistic: opening abscesses, removing foreign objects, performed, historians believe, while patients slept under opium-based compounds. Primitive anesthesia, hiding inside a religious ritual. Structured care, a place to go, people to attend to you. Still a temple, not a hospital. Rome built something closer, not for you. Rome built something that looks, from a distance, like a hospital. The Valetudinarium, a military infirmary, organized, with dedicated wards and staff. Archaeological evidence at Roman frontier forts shows purpose-built ward buildings designed around one objective: keep soldiers healthy, return them to battle. That was the point. That was the limit. The Roman public had nothing equivalent. Wealthy Romans were treated at home by personal physicians, often Greek slaves. The poor relied on neighborhood physicians, or on nothing. No building received them. No institution existed for them. Rome's contribution to hospital history is military, not civilian. Elsewhere, the story differs slightly. Ashoka's inscriptions from approximately 250 BCE describe organized healing facilities across his Indian empire, among the earliest written references to institutional care anywhere. The Mihantali site in Sri Lanka contains the oldest archaeological evidence of a purpose-built hospital building, dated to roughly the 9th and 10th centuries CE. 3 civilizations. 3 different answers. None built a public hospital. The institution that finally did was not a government or an empire. It was a church. The public hospital, an institution offering room, board, and care to anyone who needed it, did not exist until the Christian period in the Eastern Roman Empire. Not in Egypt, not in Greece, not in Rome. Nowhere. Basil of Caesarea, bishop of modern Turkey, built the Basileus around 369 CE, a complex outside the city walls, not simply a ward. Wards for the sick, housing for physicians and nurses, a leprosarium for those cast out of ordinary society, and a hospice for the dying. The Emperor Julian, who despised Christianity, was so embarrassed by what the church had built that he attempted to create competing pagan welfare institutions. He wrote in his own letters that pagan society had nothing comparable. He was correct. The church was feeding, housing, and tending to people nobody else would touch. Here's the thing buried inside the word itself: hospital, hotel, hostel, hospice. All carry the same Latin root, hospice, meaning the relationship between a host and a guest. The original hospital was not built around medicine. It was built around hospitality. What spread across Europe in the centuries that followed looked nothing like either. Something harder, something darker, and more dangerous to enter. Say the word hospital to someone in 1200 and they knew exactly what it meant. Shelter, not medicine, not a physician, a roof, a bed, and prayers for the dying. The medieval hospital was not a medical institution. It was everything else at once. A shelter for pilgrims, a poorhouse for those with no home, no family, no food, a hospice for people with nowhere to die, a leper colony for those society had cast out, run by religious orders. The physician was largely absent. England alone built more than 300 hospitals, hospices, and leper houses between 1100 and 1250. Paris counted 60. St. Leonard's in York, England's largest, held approximately 225 beds. 2 people to a bed was standard, regardless of symptoms. Picture yourself admitted, sharing a bed with a stranger. You do not know what is wrong with them. They do not know what is wrong with you. Nobody does. The physician, if there is one, has not visited in days. Around you, people are praying. Some will be dead by morning. In medieval times, people did not go to hospital to be cured. They went to be housed while they died. Professional medical care barely appears in London records until the very end of the Middle Ages. While Europe built poorhouses and called them hospitals, somewhere else had already built something unrecognizable. The most important chapter in the history of medicine is the one almost nobody knows. While European hospitals were poorhouses dressed in prayer, the Islamic world had already built something that looks, from where we stand now, almost modern. The Bimaristan, Persian for place for sick people. First permanent examples appear in the 8th and 9th centuries under the Abbasid Caliphate in Baghdad. What made them revolutionary was not one thing. It was everything at once. Separate wards for different conditions, fevers apart from surgical cases, eye diseases apart from diarrheal diseases, a separate ward for mental illness, paid medical staff, physicians, pharmacists, surgeons, bone setters, on salary. Medical education attached directly to the institution, with examinations and diplomas issued to students, libraries, documented medical records, and free to everyone, regardless of wealth, religion, or origin. The policy statement of the Bimaristan of Al-Mansur Qalawun in Cairo, written in 1284, declared that the hospital would keep all patients until completely recovered, at no cost, whether rich or poor, local or foreign, employed or not. One of the most remarkable documents in medical history, written 6 centuries before anyone in Europe said the same. Al-Razi, the Persian physician who ran the Baghdad hospital, was among the first in history to clinically distinguish smallpox from measles. His staff numbered 25, doctors, surgeons, optometrists. Europe was still centuries behind. And for the ordinary person lying sick in London or Paris, none of this existed. There somewhere worse was still waiting. Here is the number nobody told you. For most of the 19th century, entering a hospital made you statistically more likely to die. Not from your original illness, from the hospital. At the London Hospital, between 1852 and 1857, 142 amputations were performed. Overall mortality, 46%, nearly half. Most deaths came from post-operative sepsis. This was after anesthesia had already been introduced. The surgery was survivable, the building was not. French surgeon Malgain published the first reliable operative mortality statistics in 1841. Average amputation mortality, 60%. He called the causes hospital diseases, erysipelas, tetanus, gangrene, septicemia, infections that had nothing to do with the original wound and everything to do with the ward. Before 1867, mortality from post-operative infection alone ran at approximately 50%. Why? No concept of infection. Unwashed hands, unwashed instruments, linens reused on successive patients without cleaning. The operating table was not wiped between procedures. When anesthesia arrived in 1846, surgeons operated more frequently and more boldly. More operations meant more open wounds. More open wounds meant more death. Wealthy people refused to go. They were treated at home. They were right. Picture yourself in a London hospital in 1855. A surgeon examines your infected leg. He has just come from the post-mortem room. He does not wash his hands. The odds you survive 2 weeks are roughly even. The Vienna Maternity Hospital, 1846. 2 clinics, same building. First clinic, doctors, maternal mortality from childbed fever, 98.4 deaths per 1,000 births, averaged 1840 to 1846. Second clinic, midwives, 36.2 per 1,000. Same period, same hospital. The gap was so severe that women on the street begged for the midwives' clinic. Some preferred to give birth in the gutter rather than let a doctor near them. They were right. Ignaz Semmelweis identified the cause. Doctors walked directly from performing autopsies on women dead of puerperal fever to examining living patients without washing their hands. Midwives did not perform autopsies. That was the difference. He introduced hand washing with chloride of lime in 1847. The following year, the first clinic's mortality fell to 12.7 per 1,000. He had eliminated the deaths with soap. The medical establishment rejected his findings. His contract was not renewed. He was expelled from Vienna. Committed to a mental institution in 1865, he died there at 47, never recognized in his lifetime. He proved hospitals were killing people. They destroyed him for it. The Crimean War, 1854. Approximately 1 in 5 British troops sent died, the vast majority from preventable disease, not battlefield wounds. Ships built to carry 250 patients were forced to hold 1,500. Florence Nightingale arrived at Scutari in November 1854 with 40 nurses. What she found was corridors packed with the infected, sewage running beneath the wards, inadequate light, inadequate air. People dying from conditions the building itself was creating. The popular story says she reduced mortality through nursing. The records say otherwise. A sanitary commission arrived in 1855, unblocked the sewers, scrubbed the walls, restored ventilation and drainage. Mortality fell dramatically. Nightingale used the data, developing her now famous polar area charts to argue for structural hospital reform built entirely on evidence. Her 1859 publication, Notes on Hospitals, established principles still present in hospital design today: natural light, cross-ventilation, pavilion wards, separation of infectious patients. Then Lister. Reading Pasteur's germ theory work in 1865, he developed carbolic acid antiseptic technique and published in The Lancet in 1867. The medical establishment resisted for over a decade. By the 1880s, resistance collapsed. The modern hospital, a place you enter expecting to survive, is a product of the 1880s, not a day before. The word hospital still carries its Latin root inside it. Hospice, a host welcoming a guest. For most of history, the guest was the dying poor. The welcome was a shared bed and a prayer. Think about what that word has held. A Greek pilgrim sleeping on a temple floor. A leper turned from every door except one. A woman in Vienna choosing the gutter over the doctors. A surgeon with unwashed hands in a building that killed half the people it admitted. Semmelweis dying unrecognized. Nightingale proving it with numbers. Every step of that slow, brutal climb is buried inside the word. The hospital you walk into today, where survival is expected rather than miraculous, where the odds are on your side, is the end of that journey. The next time you feel relief at those words, you are going to hospital. Remember what they used to mean. For most of human history, somewhere worse was exactly where you ended up.